Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, young and old of District 114 Toastmasters. You are almost welcome to this TEACAST of April edition. Since last year during TCON 2025, when Rwanda was announced that it's going to host TCON 20, a great team was set ever witness. From then, TCAST Yes, I am back. I was telling you, TCON 2026 is here. Only 2 weeks to TCON 2026. Today we are having TCAST, the April edition. Only 15 days to the TCON 2026. Tonight I am not alone. We have other guests here. But before we introduce the other guests we are together with, let me introduce the co-convener of TCON 2026. That is none other than Hannah Welcomer. She is a member of Habesha Toastmasters Club in Addis Ababa, and she's a communication specialist as far as her professional life is inquired. With that being said, let me welcome Hannah. Take on the stage and say hi to the people following us on the live streaming, and then tell us who are the guests are we with today. The floor is yours, Hannah. Okay. It seems Hannah might be having some technical issues, things we don't deal with that are usually surprising to us, but let's go on. The good news, I know the guests we are with tonight, and I will introduce them with no problem. So tonight, as you might have seen on the different posters we shared, we are with two great guests. And if you have been in Toastmaster for some time, you should be knowing them. The first one is none other than Margaret Njoroge, DTM. She is an accomplished result-driven management consultant in finance, strategy, operations, and general management spanning different industries. Her credentials include being a certified public accountant, a business communication degree in accounting, business administration and management, and an MBA in strategic management. Additionally, she was awarded Distinguished Toastmaster certification by Toastmasters International, which is based in the USA. As a Toastmaster, she has served different leadership capacities at club and district level. She is committed to club growth and has chartered a number of Toastmasters clubs across East Africa. Empowering others to reach their potential is a passion that she embraces, and she serves as a mentor to many within and without Toastmasters. Margaret is currently serving as the Toastmasters District 114 Program Quality Director, overseeing the Toastmasters educational program, training, and speech contests. To add on that, I will not give her the floor without saying she is now our district director elect for the next Toastmasters term. With that being said, PQD Margaret, DTM, please say hi to the audience.
Thank you very much, our conference convener, Master Obed. A very warm good evening to all leaders on the call this evening. I am delighted to be on this TEACAST. I'm always excited when it's conference time. And for those who may not know what TECON stands for, it is Toastmasters East Africa Conference. Over the years, we've held conferences as East Africa, and it's always such a joy and a delight to come together, and I'm delighted to be on the call this evening. Back to you, Obed.
Thank you very much, PQD Margaret Njoroge, DTM. As I told you, we are not alone. Hannah, you can take over the floor if the technicalities are allowing and introduce the other guest speaker. Okay. In the meantime, let me introduce the other guest speaker in the house. The other guest speaker, she is also a distinguished Toastmaster. Ethiopia's Dadese DTM, also PMP. PMP is Project Management Professional. Ethiopis is a communication and advocacy specialist with a decade of experience in development communications, advocacy, and community development. She is a Mandela Washington Fellow, a regional Yali Fellow, and a Rotarian. As the first female distinguished Toastmaster DTM in Ethiopia, she is a passionate advocate for leadership and communication excellence. Beyond her profession, Ethiopis is a community builder and mobilizer, leveraging her networks to drive meaningful impact. She has organized fundraising initiatives that have supported thousands of rural community members in Ethiopia and facilitated as a certified trainer and facilitated as a certified trainer. She has designed and delivered training programs at both corporate and grassroots levels to equip thousands of youth with market-ready skills. Ethiopis is especially committed to empowering young women through skill building and leadership development. At every opportunity, she strives to give back to her community, fostering collaboration and creating spaces for growth and empowerment. That's our second guest speaker tonight. Ethiopis, take the floor, open the mic, and say hi to the people following us.
Hi, good evening, morning, afternoon, everybody that's joining us. Thank you so much, our conference convener, Obed, for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. Fun fact, I am a little outside of Addis Ababa in a city or a town called Debre Zeit around Addis Ababa. And I am with the National Geographic team facilitating a workshop on photography for youth. So it's I'm taking a minute from that workshop to join you on this very important TEACAST call. And I hope to get into a bit more of what I do and how my Toastmaster journey has allowed me to partake in so many interesting projects and activities, this one being the one as well. And I'm just so happy to join you guys here this evening and looking forward to sharing about the conference and more. So thank you for the invitation. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Ethiopia's Tadesse, DTM. For sure, with these introductions, they are going to do a great job in this TEACAST. If you don't know anything about TECON, with these guest speakers, you're going to know everything. Now, let me give the floor to Hannah. Hannah, now you can say hi to people who have been missing you since the last TEACAST, and then dive in deep with the questions. To you, Hannah.
Thank you, conference convener Obed. So good evening, everyone. So as our conference convener introduced me, my name is Hannah Olgama. I am a member of Habesha Toastmasters Club and serving the district as a TECON conference co-convener. So let me just jump to the first question. The first question goes to PQD Margaret Njoroge. And how did you hear about Toastmasters in addition to your leadership journey from when you have joined the Toastmasters for the first time ever until this point? And what's your experience with TCON? I'm sure you have attended a lot of TCON conferences. So what's your experience in terms of TCON? Over to you, Maggie.
Thank you very much, our conference co-convener, Hannah. I heard about Toastmasters in the year 2007. And I heard it from one of the directors on a board that I was serving on. And during one of the board meetings over a break, he began to talk about a group of people that he meets with. And he thought that I would enjoy being part of that particular group of people. And he took me to my first Toastmaster Club meeting ever. And that is at Smart Speak Toastmasters Club, the second club that was chartered in Nairobi, Kenya. It happens to be an evening Toastmasters Club. Due to all the things that I was doing in the evenings, it wasn't convenient for me. I also got introduced to a remarkable lady, Dr. Rosie Rana, Distinguished Toastmaster. And we went back to the organization that I was serving in, and we got an okay for us to start a Toastmasters corporate club within that organization. However, having tried numerous times, we were not successful. We ended up leaving the walls of that particular corporate, and we found ourselves in the heart of the city in Nairobi. And 2 years later, we were able to charter the very first launch our Toastmasters Club meeting in East Africa, Nairobi Toastmasters Club, in the year 2009. And I'm delighted that this is my 17th year as a Toastmaster. And over the years, I have come to discover so many secrets that are hidden within the Toastmasters program and all that it has to offer us as individuals. I've had opportunity to serve at club level and also in the district leadership. And before we came together as a district, we were holding events like the Best of Toastmasters Kenya. And then we graduated and started hosting the Best of Toastmasters in East Africa. And it's during one of those sessions that the countries that were present then, which is Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and Rwanda, agreed to form a territorial council. And guess where we had that particular meeting that decided that we would be a Toastmasters district in East Africa? In Kigali, Rwanda. And guess what? We're going back to Kigali, Rwanda on 15th of May. Having conferences is a wonderful experience. It's not just a gathering. It's a convergence of ambition, courage, and possibility. It is where ordinary members make extraordinary decisions about who they are becoming. And for those who are yet to decide on whether they want to join us in TCON Kigali on 15th of May, I invite you to see the district conference, not as an event on the calendar, but as a catalyst for transformation. You get to accelerate your growth as a leader. You get to expand your network and your influence. and listen to speech contests, which I'm sure we'll share about more later. And you develop yourself as a leader. It is indeed an extraordinary and an incredible experience that I have experienced over the years, and I can hardly wait for TEACON 2026 in Kigali. Over to you, our co-convener, Hannah.
Thank you, Diti and Maggie, for that thoughts. It really is, I say it's really amazing that the first conference was in Kigali and now we're going back to Kigali. Hopefully we will have a great time. Thank you for that. So let me go to our next guest, Ditya Meetup, please. Ditya Meetup, please, can you please share your response for the question, or shall I repeat the question for you too, Ditya, please?
Yes, if you could repeat the question, that would be
Yes,
great.
sure. So how did you hear about Toastmasters the first time? And in addition to your leadership journey from when you joined Toastmasters the first time until this point, and what's your experience when it comes to TCON? And what can you tell us about that? Over to you, Peace.
All right. Thank you. So I'll try to pack in my experience into the time that we have. So anybody that knows me at this point in Ethiopia, by the way, my name has become synonymous to Toastmasters, and people sometimes know that I am a member of Toastmasters before even knowing who I am and every other thing that I have done or I try to do. And I take that as a really big compliment. But before, I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard about Toastmasters, first of all, the word itself made no sense to me. So, as an external person who was, by the way, I was a student when I heard about Toastmasters. So, I was in my early 20s when I heard about Toastmasters, and it sounded very foreign to me, very taken very literally. The word itself does not make sense. And back then, we didn't have the tendency or the culture of like Googling and finding out about things. So I had completely dismissed it. I heard about it, didn't put any, and couldn't find even anybody to explain it to me. So I completely dismissed it. And then one day, a friend of a friend of a friend wanted to take me to a meeting. And I loved meetings. By the way, I am one of those people who, even from a young age, I love formality. I like meetings. I like formal settings. I know a lot of people, or especially young people, find those settings very lame and boring. I thrive in very structured and formal settings. And he was like, you know what? You should come to this meeting. And I was like, what is it about? He was like, I'm not even sure, but let's just go check it out. So at that time, I was, as I mentioned, a university student. I had dropped out of a field that I had started. So I was a medicine student at first, and I had dropped out of medicine and decided to go in kind of the opposite route and pursue my degree in business. So I had already shifted from what I had built my entire teenage years to pursue to something very different. So I was in a season of discovery. So I needed to discover who I was, what I can do, what my future was. And then I ended up in this meeting and I hated it. I hated my first Toastmaster session, which was strange because I told you I love formality and structure. So you would think that I would love Toastmasters, right? But everything felt so rigid. Everything was timed. People felt honestly a bit robotic. Like as soon as they were called upon, they would just stand up and deliver something that it seemed like they had already prepared for. And I was like, whoa, this seems so very rigid, it wasn't authentic. It didn't feel authentic to me. And I kind of felt like an outsider at my first meeting. And then I didn't go. I didn't go back for like 8 months. I was like, this is not for me. I'm not going to go back. So I didn't go back for another 8 months. And then I met Magdala through another NGO that I was volunteering for at the time. And apparently he told me about it again. And he was like, have you ever heard of Toastmasters? So for those of you who don't know Magdala, he's also a member of Toastmasters here in Ethiopia. He's also a distinguished Toastmaster. I think he has now 2 distinguished Toastmaster titles, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, he was like, why don't you come and try it again? And then the next time I went, one of our members, Toastmaster Yosef, was delivering a speech about his wife. Never in my life have I given so much attention to a person speaking. Like, to this day, 10, 11 years later, I remember the details about his speech. And if not the exact details, I remember his enthusiastic delivery, and it shocked me. I was like, how are people like speaking like this? How are they gaining the confidence to speak with so much passion, so much clarity, so much eloquence in front of such a large audience? So Yosef, Magdala brought me back. Yosef was the reason that I stayed. And then here I am 10, 11 years later in my Toastmaster journey. So as I mentioned, because I was a young adult at the time, trying to figure out what my career future was going to be, what I was going to do, Toastmaster anchored me. It allowed me to come out of my shell. It allowed me, by the way, to make the connections that I needed to get access to my first job in the international NGO sector, was because of a recommendation that I got from somebody who saw me at a Toastmaster session. So my leadership trajectory after joining Toastmasters has been exponential. I can't even put it into proper words. And I know it was because of my membership and the time I dedicated to Toastmasters. So when it comes to TCON, the first TCON that we attended, I'll say we because we attended as the Ethiopian crew for the first time as a large group. We attended TCON. I think it was back in 2017, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was in Nairobi. And to be honest with you, the fact that we were just traveling as a group excited us enough. It wasn't even the conference itself. It was the fact that finally we get to meet these people that we had been interacting with online that we've never got to meet in person. Finally, we get to travel in a group to another country and have this kind of experience. So that was my first TCON experience. It was amazing. I got to put, a face to the name of all the people, all my family and friends from the Toastmaster community. It was really an unforgettable experience. I have many unforgettable experiences, by the way, in TCON. Not all of them are exciting. I have one that's maybe not too great, but it's actually something that really shaped me as a person. But yeah, TCON has always been a very unforgettable experience for me. So here I am for this TCON 2026. Very excited that it is in Kigali, Rwanda, because I missed that time where it was the last time that TCON was there. I don't know why. I don't think I was a Toastmaster back then, actually. But anyway, I wasn't able to travel. So I'm so excited that this time around we're back in Rwanda to get this opportunity again. I'm so excited. So I'm serving as the program chair, trying to design a very unforgettable experience for you all. And as somebody who's attended most of the TCONs that have taken place in the different countries and has heard feedback from all the people who've taken part in the program as well, we're trying to make this one even better. We're always trying to make it better, and so expect something great. So I'm not sure if I responded to every portion of the question, but I'll pause here and hand it back over to our conference co-convener. Back to you.
Thank you, DTM Etopis. You did reflect to all the questions that I wanted to hear. I would have loved to hear more about that specific TCON experience, but let's move to the next, and we might hear about it. So let me give a chance to our conference convener, Obed, to ask the next question. Over to you, Obed.
Thank you very much, Hannah, our conference co-convener. Thank you, DTM Ethiopis and PQD Maggie DTM. For sure, with Toastmasters and with TCON specifically, there are always first-time memories, and they are always long-lasting. I always tell people, if you attend your first ever TCON, that will be your last time missing TCON. So when you attend the first one, you attend every other. For now, let's dive in deep now in the final preparations of TCON. As I told you as we started, we are just 15 days to the main TCON. As Ethiopia said, she's the program chair, so she's in charge to prepare the best experience for everyone attending TCON. Now, Ethiopians, I want you to tell us, to this year's, the theme of TCON 2026 is Rise, Shine, and Thrive. As the program chair, how will this theme be reflected throughout the conference? And how is its purpose will be achieved on a personal level and a general level? To you, Ethiopia Stadese, DTM.
All right, thank you so much. So, to be very honest with everyone, especially for those of you who maybe have attended TCONs in the past, most of the time we don't take the theme very seriously. Of course, there will always be a theme, but the application of the theme is not very strong. So we're trying to, just improve that a bit more this year. So as our conference convener already mentioned, the theme for this year is Rise, Shine, and Thrive. So the words themselves separately also already communicate a strong message of what we're trying to do through this conference. But what we've done is, as you all know, TCON is a 3-day experience, one being a bit shorter than the other two. So what we've done is we've assigned a theme for each of the days. So on the first day, we're going to go with the Rise theme. So interpretations of words can be very different, but for the Rise theme that we're having for the first day, it's a bit more intentionally more softer and more reflective, and about grounding us before we head to the second and third day, which is packed with a lot of programs and of course the contests as well. So the idea of Rise is a bit about, it's not just about motivation, it's about awareness of where our district is and where we hope to go, of course, moving forward. For those of you who have been around in District 114 before it became a district, we have indeed risen from where we were in terms of the number of clubs that have been birthed in all the different countries. And of course, the fact that we are a district as well, and the fact that we continue to grow in the number of clubs and the impact across East Africa. So the second day will reflect the theme of shine. So the second day, we have a really great agenda planned for everybody that's coming. So we're trying to balance a few things. The contest is a no-brainer. So coming to TCON means that you should be ready to enjoy a really great contest that we have prepared for you with the best of the best contestants who have made it through, of course, the entire competition process so far and will be competing on the Grand TCON stage. But then on top of that, we have really remarkable keynote speeches that we have prepared for you. We have very intentional networking sessions that we have prepared for you, because TCON is, of course, another opportunity for us to network within and beyond the East African Toastmaster community. And then we also have breakout sessions with different topics. So the shine element of it is, of course, putting a spotlight on our contestants, on the different speakers that we're going to be having that day. So for the breakout sessions, I'm not going to get into too much detail about what the topics for the breakout session is, but this is actually going to be the first of its kind in that we're having very intentional breakout sessions with very relevant topics. That's relevant not just for Toastmasters in terms of communication, leadership, and public speaking. But in the world that we're living in today, there are relevant topics that we need to be discussing as professionals and as leaders in the East African community. So we do have that, we do have breakout sessions ready for that. And then on the last day, we have Thrive. So the momentum that we're building over the course of the first and second day needs to be then taken on to the third day as well, and then hopefully beyond. So how do we take what we've learned and actually apply it in our clubs, in our careers, in our leadership roles as well? So the day 3, we're focused on legacy, on the systems, and then on the continuity that we hope to bring back to our countries. So of course, we're still going to have contests on the third day as well, but we also have other programs prepared so that the theme is really, we expect it to really shine throughout the program. So yeah, stay tuned to find out more as we hear from PQD Maggie as well. Back to you, our conference convener.
Thank you very much, Ethiopia Stadese, DTM. For sure, on the Rise Day, we shall be celebrating how we've risen as District 114. Then also contests are a no-brainer. I could not find the right word, but no-brainer explains it better. And also thrive. Everything we learn, we should be applied and make us thrive in Toastmasters and also outside Toastmasters itself. With that, let me call Hannah to ask the next question to our PQD. To you, Hannah.
Thank you, Conference Convener Obed. So, DTM Nike, as we all know, contests are the main part of a TCON, specifically TCON 2026. And mainly the attraction for the majority of the participants, if not everyone, what can we expect as far as that category concerned, as far as in terms of the contests? And if someone did not have the interest of the contest, why should they not miss the contest? Over to you, Mike.
Thank you very much for the questions touching on the contests. Contests are a Toastmasters tradition. All contests originate from club level. And we move on to the next level of contests, which is the area level speech contests. The winners from the area level then proceed to the division level contests. And during the district conference, dubbed TCON for East Africa, we get to showcase the best of the best from each of the divisions. This particular year, we have 4 categories of contests. We'll host the table topics contest, which involves impromptu speaking. The second category of contest is the evaluation contest, where we have a test speaker who will deliver a speech, and the contestants for the evaluation contest have the opportunity to give feedback on that particular contest speech. We then have the third category, which is the humorous speech contest. And there's opportunity for the contestants to share humor in their speeches. The fourth category is the international speech contest. And the international speech contest is the only Toastmasters contest that goes beyond the district level. For those who will compete in the international speech contest, the winner will have their particular video submitted for the quarterfinals. And the winner from the quarterfinals will advance to the semifinals. And then we'll have the finals that give us the World Championship of Public Speaking. Having spoken to a number of the contestants, and most of those who are competing in the international speech contest, they're all eyeing the World Championship stage. And they've been working on their speeches. And we have opportunity to see them showcase their speeches on the Toastmasters platform in Kigali, Rwanda. And when you witness speeches at this highest level, you get to see what is possible. You hear stories that move you. Others will challenge you and elevate you as a speaker. You begin to ask yourself, if they can do it, why not me? And as we watch the different contestants battling it out, it's a challenge to each and every one of us to step out of our comfort zone. It's another elevated level of learning. And therefore, we should not miss TCON 2026 happening in Kigali, Rwanda on 15th of May. as we have the 4 divisions in Toastmasters East Africa bring forth their best contestants to compete against their fellow division contestants. There is so much learning that happens when those contests are in session. In particular, you get to expand your network and influence even as you discuss the different speeches with fellow attendees, and you meet members beyond your own club, leaders, innovators, and high performers from across the district. And it's an incredible time. You have to be in that meeting room to experience it. And of course, when we get the results announced, it's always such a joyous moment. But guess what? Everybody on that stage who has boldly taken the step to step on that stage is a winner because they have stretched beyond their own boundaries. We look forward to seeing you all in TEACAST 2026 in Kigali, Rwanda. Over to you, Conference Convener Obed.
Thank you very much, PQD Maggie. Indeed, the contests are a clash of champions. And for myself, the first time I was in TCON, I'm coming back to other TCONs because when I saw the speakers, I was like, I've never ever delivered a good speech. And then from there, we learned a lot. And I loved what you said. There is an opportunity to network as you discuss about the speeches. And that's a great opportunity that should not be missed by anyone attending. To the audience and everyone who might not make it, unfortunately, we are trying to live stream the speeches so that even when you may not be live in Kigali, you will not have the full experience, but at least you will have 1 or 2 knowledge about the speeches. Now, going forward, let me come back to you, Ethiopis. You mentioned a bit about it, about things that were not being used or done during other TCONs, where the theme was not taken serious, where you talked about the things that are coming as at the first time. So I want to ask you, what special events and those sessions that were not present during past district conferences that we are going to have during TCON 2026? You may take this opportunity, if possible, go through the agenda and tell us what specialty do you have this year? To you, Ethiopis, that is a DTM.
Okay, thank you so much again, Obed, our conference convener. So a few things are different. So I think, we would be really remiss if we didn't actually use the opportunity to learn from previous TCONs and always try to improve it and always try to make it the best. I would argue that I think our Toastmaster conferences might be better than other divisions. I feel we do it well because we're very supportive and we always try to build on it year after year. So a few things that we noticed though from previous year TCONs that we do, of course, want to intentionally improve on is, first of all, sometimes when TCON is organized, there's a lot of focus on maybe too much on the contest itself and the other logistics that are happening, and it becomes very agenda heavy and just getting things done. So this has happened, now let's move on to this. This has happened, let's move on to that and everything. And sometimes because of that, the design of the event from the perspective of the participant, like the flow of the event, might not be taken into full consideration. So there are a few things that we've done a bit more intentionally this year. Starting off, there are going to be opportunities for people. First of all, when you go to Rwanda, by the way, of course, you're going for the purpose of TCON, but you're going to Rwanda. That's amazing. You might have been there before, or like me, you might have never visited before, and it's an exciting opportunity. So we want TCON to be the reason that's bringing you to Rwanda, of course, but we want you also to understand that you're visiting a beloved country in East Africa, one with very rich history, one with amazing people who, of course, we have as our own Toastmasters as well, but also beyond. So we are curating some visits for people who want to come even before TCON actually happens and stay longer, right? So we are having just a list of different things that you can do during your visit there. All right. So this is also like a tourist and like a cultural experience that we want you to have. So we don't want to be selfish to assume that TCON is the only thing that you want to experience when you come to Rwanda, right? And with the gas and oil prices that are going, with that market going on globally, we don't know when the next time we're going to be traveling this freely, so might as well use that opportunity. So when we come to the actual TCON experience, as I mentioned before, there are a few things that we are adding to make it a bit more special. So that includes, first of all, intentional networking sessions. So before there was always time for networking, by the way. So but usually it's labeled as the tea break, and we assume people will network during that tea break as opposed to actually making it a structured session. So we understand that the people coming in Toastmasters, first of all, not all of us know each other. We have a lot of new members, and in the room we have present a lot of people from different professions coming for different purposes, by the way, to TCON. So we want to make sure that people get as much out of that networking session as possible. So there will be structured networking sessions and longer networking sessions as well. That's one thing. That's the second thing. And then the third thing is, as I mentioned, the breakout sessions also that we're having is going to be a session where you're going to be learning something new, hopefully, where you're going to be challenging maybe industry experts or people who know a lot about a certain topic, and it is going to be a medium for proper discussion across the people attending. So I do believe like the breakout sessions, the networking events, and everything else that's going to be happening outside of TCON, you getting the opportunity to visit those different places is going to make TCON 2026 a much more enriching experience, right? It's going to be really like 360. We're really trying to be comprehensive with the experiences that you're going to be having there. So we don't want anybody to be bored and to feel like they're just moving from one contest to another, to another, to another, and then the gala, and we hear about the contestant winners, right? Like, of course, that's definitely the prime reason that we're going to be there, and we're so proud about our contestants, but we do want to make sure every other participant also has a very meaningful stay there. So these are the sessions that we're going to be having. We're adding a few more things. If time allows, we will be adding a few more programs to the list, which we will be advertising, and our PR team will be pushing out in the weeks to come. So if you miss out on TCON 2026, you're missing out on far too many things. As I'm just going to mention that as my last thing. Back to you, our conference convener, Obed.
Yes, thank you very much, Theopis, for sure. If you miss out this TCON, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, we never get rid of you. So don't miss out. As one of the things you said, other gala nights will be just celebrating, but for sure at this time, the gala night, one of the things is you shall be expecting something. That's when we shall announce the winners, and then everyone who will be attending the gala night will be expecting a lot. Without that being said, Hannah, tell us, what other things do people want to know about TCON 2026?
Thank you, conference convener Obed. So for the other things that people should expect from TCON, we will invite PQD Maggie to tell us. But before that, we have about 20 attendees on the live chat, on the live session following us. So if you have any questions, just drop it on the live chat so that our guests can reflect before we conclude our meeting. So, PQD Maggie, how can TCON 2026 serve as a platform for fostering leadership personal as well as professional development across both the Toastmasters and the partners that shall attend. And how can one make the most out of this rare opportunity? Over to you, Mike.
Thank you very much, our co-conference convener, Hannah. District conferences accelerate growth. Typically, in our Toastmasters clubs, we grow step by step. But at a conference, that growth multiplies. You're exposed to new ideas, advanced communication techniques, leadership insights, and diverse perspectives, all within a few days. What might take months to learn in isolation, you experience in a single immersive environment. Those who have taken the time to attend a conference, they will develop in their leadership, because putting together a district conference is leadership in action. A conference is a living example of leadership. It takes planning, teamwork, resilience, and execution. Whether you serve on the organizing team or you simply observe, you gain insights into what it takes to lead at a scale. We also have the opportunity to be renewed and motivated, because at times our journey feels a little routine. But at a district conference, we are reignited. We reignite the spark. And you're able to return to your home club with fresh energy, new goals, and a deeper commitment to your personal and your professional growth. And therefore, we are not just checking off a calendar. We are coming to learn in an environment that is now a global setting. And you're bound to pick an idea during the networking segments that DTM Ethiopians has talked about. You will forge partnerships and collaborations that will last long after TEACAST has ended. And therefore, let's purpose as we step forward and attend TEACAST 2026 that we will make a difference. Let's network at an elevated level, the kind that will help us to be transformed beyond the Toastmasters platform. Can we purpose to do that this year and make it count? It is a great opportunity. Back to you, Hannah, our co-conference convener.
Thank you, PQD Maggie. Indeed, when we come, we're not just taking our calendar, but we will learn from a global setting. So thank you. I really can't wait for May 15 to attend and learn more from everyone. Over to you, Obed.
Thank you very much. For sure, I agree with that. I can't agree with it more. TEACAST is not just ticking the calendar, it's about more than that. It's a lifelong lasting experience that everyone should never miss. Before we get the questions, if anyone on the live stream asks questions, there are some questions that have been asked, and I will ask them, and then one of the questions I'm recurringly getting these days is, I'm going to ask it to the program chair, Ethiopians. Ethiopians, during the 3 days, does TEACAST 2026 have any attire, any dressing code that you should follow? Tell us more about that.
By the way, I find this question so interesting, and I know that people take it so seriously because they want to plan ahead of time. And I'm like judging myself based on people's inquiry of the dress code, and I'm wondering, why am I not as worried as well? All right. So dress code, yes, there is of course protocol that it would be good for us to follow. And for the first day we're gonna have our cocktail reception as we always do. So that's the night where everybody's gonna be earlier checking into their hotels and then coming to the venue where we're going to have our cocktail reception, where we're going to be welcomed by our trio, as well as the conference organizers. And then we're going to have very fun MCs that are going to make the night very lively. So on this night, we expect everybody to be dressed smart but casual, because we do want you to be comfortable. It's an evening program. We're going to have drinks, we're going to have food, and we're just going to be networking and socializing. Not very structured networking, but just an element of socializing. And I think this is the time, even from my previous experience, where people will be seeing each other for the first time after a year, 2 years, and everything. So we're just going to be saying hi, socializing. There will be some games. We're going to have a good time. So smart, but very casual would be our dress code for the first day. So second day is going to be the first proper conference day, where we're going to be spending most of the time in the main hall. So the morning is going to have keynote remarks, and then we're going to be heading almost straight into our contests for that day. All right, so for the second day, the dress code is going to be this, it's not casual, it's more smart and a bit more formal. So as I mentioned, that the structured networking session is going to take place primarily on the second and third day, where we're going to have full stretches. So show up how you want people to know you, how you want to be remembered. So, for example, if that was my first impression of you, and if I've never met you before, and perhaps your objective of attending TCON is to meet people for business purposes, for career purposes, for them to know what you do, then I would recommend that you dress a bit more formal and smart for that day. But we don't want to be very restrictive, but just to let you know, we're going to be spending most of the day in the hall. So dress comfortably, but more formally on the first day. And then if we have an evening program on the second day, if we have an evening program on the second day, we will be communicating what that will be. On the third day, for the time that we're going to have in the conference, your dress code should remain a bit similar, a bit more formal, depending on what your objective is. And then on the last day, where we're going to have our gala dinner, for this, we will communicate exactly what the dress code will be, but you need to show up and show out on the last day. So we don't want to be too restrictive and say that people should come in like cultural attire, but this is the day. It's going to be black tie. We do expect people to come dressed very sharp. And we're probably going to be having a contest, a very fun contest of like who's the best dressed. We usually do this in past TCONs as well. Friendly contest. But we do expect you guys to come dressed to the nines, all right, on the gala dinner. So yeah, that's what the dress code is going to be. If there are any more specific details, we'll definitely make sure to send that to you in the days to come, because we understand that people are already planning or maybe even buying outfits for TCON, which is nice to hear. So we'll be definitely sharing that out. Back to you, our conference convener.
Thank you very much, Program Chair TEACAST Tadesse. For sure, 100%. I was going to say dress to kill, but don't dress to kill, dress to impress, because your efforts will be awarded, might be awarded. You might have missed the speech contest, but don't miss the dress contest, the dressing code contest. Okay. Other people, as a person who is on the ground here in Kigali, they've been asking what will be the weather. And actually, I think it goes with the attire they want to come in. So I want to tell you, everyone, as we said last time, unfortunately, we don't know. We have not yet understood it, but Kigali weather is bipolar. By this, I mean it might be raining in the morning and then sunny in the afternoon. But what we say is, generally this time, May, April, it's a rainy season. So think about it. But as it is bipolar, you might be having rain in the morning and some sun in the afternoon and then some wind in the evening. So be ready, dress comfortably, dress to impress, and present yourself majestically. With that, if I would respond, so accommodation, if you have any issue with accommodation, I will recommend you to reach out to the logistics manager. If you are not in contact with them, reach out to the country representatives, depending on which country you are from. We have additional activities. We are seeing the possibility of them. So we might have travels, tours in the city, and also maybe outside the city. More things as they work out, we shall be communicating to you. Any something else I want to say is there are so many opportunities for sponsorship. Don't miss out. But I want to receive our PQD Maggie. She's been Toastmaster for longer than anyone of us here. Tell us what will be the opportunity. Why should a company, an organization, or an individual be willing to sponsor TCON 2026? To you, PQD Maggie.
Thank you very much, our conference convener, Obed. Each time I step into a district conference, I'm reminded that I belong to something big that is bigger than who I am. Beyond my individual clubs, we are part of a global movement that is dedicated to communication, leadership, and transformation. And in that room, you get to feel it. You're not alone on this journey. And therefore, I'll challenge those who are still thinking about sponsoring this particular event. You will come and get great brand visibility. Many will get to hear about you. You may end up having partnerships or collaborations with people in that particular room. We're reminded that we'll be coming from at least 6 nations. And those are opportunities to go into global markets. The opportunities are immense. All you need to do is to step into the TCON conference venue. And I challenge each one of us, even as we step forward, let's not just attend, let's purpose to engage. Let's not just come and listen, let's apply what we're hearing. Can we elevate our network and build relationships that last beyond TCON? And as we hear those inspirational speeches, can we take action? Because the value at a district conference is not measured by the sessions that you will attend, but by the person you become afterwards. That is a true measure of the transformative power of attending a district conference. And that's something any sponsor would want to associate with. That's something any Toastmaster member would want to associate with. And in the end, Toastmasters, it's not just about the speeches. It's about building our confidence, elevating ourselves as leaders, and unlocking the potential that is resident in each and every one of us. And at a district conference, that's where the potential is accelerated. And therefore, let us show up. Let us step up and purpose to grow together. Back to you, our conference convener, Obed.
Thank you very much. Let it not be just a 3-day conference that shall be left in the past. Should be a continuous improvement just because you attended TCON 2026. Let me welcome Hannah to help us with the final remarks. If there is any question from the live streaming, we can go with it. The floor is yours, Hannah. Go on.
Thank you, conference convener Obed. So I was following up on the chat, but there is no questions asked. I think the questions stayed on the I'm attending group. I wish they have attended this live transmission and asked as much question as they want. But I believe most of the questions was addressed by our guests, PQD Maggie and DTM Ethiopies. So a final remark for both of them. I would like to thank both of them for giving us their time. I know they have a busy schedule, but nevertheless they did this. They come and delivered. So I would like to thank both of you, PQD Maggie as well as DTM Ethiopies, for giving us your time and your support and dedication. And finally, I really invite everyone who have not secured their tickets to buy it. It's not late. As you heard from our program chair, DTM Ethiopies, it's very intentional. This year, the program is very intentional, and you should come, attend, learn, take from it, and apply. As our PQD said, apply the lessons that we learned from this session, not just come and attend. So I say come so that you will avoid any regrets after that, because this year it's very hyped and you will hear a lot about TCON even after TCON. So purpose to attend, try to get your ticket and come and attend, learn. And that's all what I wanted to say. Back to you, Obed.
Thank you very much, our conference co-convener. In few words, let's hear from Ethiopia's Tadesa Program Chair, your last sentence as a final remark. Then we shall hear from PQD Maggie, and we may call it a night. To you, Ethiopians, in one sentence, what's your final remark?
Sorry about that. Okay, one sentence is limiting, but I will say that I missed TCON 2024 due to personal reasons, and it is one of the biggest regrets that I have as a Toastmaster. There is not one TCON that I have attended where I have not left feeling energized, always. It justifies why I've stuck in Toastmasters 10 years, and it feels like an annual refresh. It's like refresh, and then let's start the next year with new energy. So we really look forward to seeing you there. We have an exciting program for you. And yeah, we really want to have you there. We look forward to seeing you there. So be there for us to see you there. All right. And we'll see you in Kigali. Thank you so much. Over to you.
To you, PQD Maggie, your final remark? Maybe not a sentence as it is limiting, but your final remark.
The district conference isn't just an event. It's an investment in your growth. And if you're aiming to sharpen your communication, expand your network, and step into bigger leadership roles, TCON is the recipe for you. And it's one of the most impactful experiences that you can have. I have personally created friendships that are incredible. Wherever I land in a country, in the places where Toastmasters East Africa is represented, I pick up the phone and I have my own welcoming committee. Where else can that happen other than in Toastmasters? And when you deliberately pack that bag and purpose to attend TCON 2026, you will be surprised by all the networks that you'll be carrying back home. Therefore, looking forward to see each one of you in just a few weeks in Kigali, Rwanda, where our host and our conference convener, Obed, and the team are waiting to welcome each and every one of us. Back to you, Obed.
I think we lost a bit. So with this, we conclude our TEACAST April edition, and this is our last TEACAST. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending, and thank you, our guests, PQD Maggie and DTM Utopis.